Hello, Jalasi, bonjour. Province House National Historic Site is currently undergoing its biggest conservation work in its 173-year history. The Government of Canada is proudly investing in the long-term preservation of Province House so it can be enjoyed by future generations. One of the first project milestones to be completed was the stabilization of the porticos. The porticos are the front and back porch-like structures of Province House. In the original plan, the portico was to be flush with the building. However, as you can see, during construction, the decision was made to have the porticos project from the building.
The stability of the portico foundations had become compromised over the years, and replacing the foundations became a priority in the conservation project.
The construction for the portico conservation work began in April 2019 and was completed in January 2020. It took over 15 months to design, plan, and prepare for the construction drawings and specifications by a team of dedicated professionals and builders.
Today we're marking the completion of the portico foundations, which was a very significant part of this project. Probably among, if not the most technically challenging part of this job. Each one of the columns, each one of these 4 columns had to be suspended, held in the air, unmoving, for a period of approximately a week and a half to 2 weeks. So they would apply a load to the jacking frames, they'd hoist them in the air. Hoisting is perhaps a strong term because they're really not lifting them anywhere. They're moving them less than 1 millimeter and hold them in place, unmoving, get underneath them, pull all the old foundation stone out, and then pour a new foundation underneath it, let it back down, move over to the next one, do it all over again. 8 resets, actually. There's 2 porticos. So they did the north and the south at the same time, and they skipped over. They started on diagonals and they kept going. And eventually crossed over, doing 2 at a time.
Foundation contractor secures reinforcing steel rebar for new footings. Each new foundation and jacking structure were structurally designed to support a load of 100,000 pounds. That's the equivalent of 8 adult elephants.
Over here, underneath.
This highly sensitive sensor detects any movement in the steel jacking frame. All of this stone was removed and replaced with a new concrete foundation.
Thank you, Walalio. Merci for taking the time to watch this video about the portico work. Stay tuned for future videos highlighting other elements of the conservation project. For more information or up-to-date conservation information, visit our website.